Now that we have the greenhouse in a state where it can be used, it's time to get all my soil and stuff together, and my soil blockers and trays and all of my seeds, and start seeds. And there will be some things that we can plant directly out into the garden too, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So I came out here to start seeds. I'm all gung-ho, and I brought the soil in, and I'm gathering all the other things I'm going to mix in with it for my seed starting mix. And then I started pulling out trays and thinking, okay, how many tomatoes do I want to start? How many peppers? And what else do I want to start? I'm like, well, I'll just do a whole tray of peppers and a whole tray of tomatoes. I know I need a lot of those. And then I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, wait a minute. How much space do these need? My garden is not nearly big enough for that many tomatoes and peppers. With the raised beds, we're somewhat limited. I already knew I was gonna have to make some accommodations to grow all of the things that I wanted to grow. So I planned on having extra pots and maybe making some pallet gardens and whatever to do herbs and strawberries and smaller things like that in. But I just realized that the 6 existing beds that I have are 3 feet by 8 feet. 24 square feet each is not actually all that much growing space. In previous videos, back in, I think in February, I did my goals for the homestead video, and another video that highlighted a few more specific goals. And, you know, originally the goal is just to grow something, to grow one, make one, and try one. I haven't gardened in probably 2 decades, and the last time I gardened was on another coast from here. So I'm basically starting over, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So originally I was just going to start anything that I wanted to try. You know, things that we eat, things that we want to expand our diet for, and things that are fun, whatever. I just wanted to try a little bit of everything, not really trying to plan for any particular pantry items to preserve or anything like that. And then March hit, March 2020, and now we have the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic sweeping the globe, and everyone is having to make accommodations to try to flatten that curve and until, you know, vaccines and whatever can be developed. So now we have changed our plan a little bit as to what we should grow. So now we are going to be focusing more on tomatoes, peppers, onions and garlic, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and greens in particular. And we'll definitely some cold weather crops too, like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage and such, and not do so much experimenting as I was going to do previously, because these are already going to be experiments and I need to get something out of them to preserve and put in the pantry. So I am going to be dedicating more space to the tomatoes and peppers, but I still only have 6 beds right now, and they're only 24 square feet. Tomato and pepper plants actually take up a fair deal of room. So now I'm having to think outside the box and be creative about where can I plant more things. We already decided that we are going to build an additional really long, large bed just for potatoes. And we probably will build at least 2 more of the regular size beds, but it will depend on if I can get the lumber. The existing beds that we have, I had built for us, and I'm not sure if the place where we had them done is even open right now, to either to build them or even just to get the lumber from them. It's a lumber place, so I'll have to investigate. We do have scrap lumber all over the property, and we have technically enough to make whatever beds we want to make, but I really want to keep as many of them as possible cedar or redwood, and definitely I don't want to use any treated wood where I'm going to be growing food. So anyway, I've kind of decided right now. I started doing a little bit of planning. I'm drawing out my garden beds, and I'm reading the packets and seeing how much spacing each plant needs for different things we want to start. And I'm thinking that through, but I feel like that's going to take a little bit of time. I really need to just start seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and start a whole tray of peppers and a whole tray of tomatoes and whatever else I think that I want to plant. And then when they're ready to plant out into the garden, then I will find somewhere to plant them. If they don't fit in the beds, I'll take some. I have a variety of other things I can plant into, and I'll just take them up to the garden. And we'll make do and fit in as many as we can. There's also other areas around the house that do get some sun, like right around the greenhouse here, gets some in this backyard and all along the bank. So that's one of the next things we're gonna be working on, and we may just reclaim some of the backyard for more garden beds, because there is some space back there, even if we make like a seating area or something for just backyard enjoyment. So we have learned already in this greenhouse that it gets quite hot in here during the day. So I'm trying to work out here. It's still only morning, but it's hot in here and it's sweaty. I've already opened up the vents, so now it is time to assemble the new fan. So that's next. It's quite warm. It does cool off overnight, so I'm gonna have to do some research and pay attention to my seeds. I think anything that's cold weather crop will be just fine. I don't have to worry about heating anything for them overnight, but things like tomatoes and peppers probably will need the heat mats that I have, and I have a few, so I think we'll be okay. I do have heaters I can put in here if I need to, but I'd rather not run them overnight when nobody's out here, if possible. So we'll see how it goes. We're just gonna do the best that we can do. So what I have available to plant in are some trays. I don't know if you can see these back here. They don't have any cells in them. It's just one big open tray, and they each have a dome, a clear dome that goes over them. Here, I can show you these ones over here, like those. To hold in heat and moisture. The domes even have little vents on them, which is really nice. So I have several of those, like, let's see, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, I have 10 of those. And my plan was to use soil blocks in them, and I bought the whole soil blocking system, all 3 sizes that go together. I'll probably do a separate video on that at some point. I also have just a variety of things that were left behind here. So there's some like the papery kind of cardboardy pots that, you know, when it's time to plant out, you probably don't even have to take them out of there. You just wet them down and break them up, and it'll be fine. And then I have the little spongy blocks that were left here that I could probably use too, that you wet and they poof up. And a variety of trays, some with cells and some without, that were left here, and a whole bunch of variety of flower pots. There's some black plastic ones, and there's some terracotta ones, just a whole bunch of stuff. And you saw in the greenhouse video, I bought a couple of the stackable planters to do like strawberries and herbs in. So I have a variety of things I can use to get things started, and I'm pretty much gonna stick with what we have here. I think there may even be more out in the workshop or the barn, because we've got quite a lot. So none of them may be ideal or what I want to use going forward, but we're gonna experiment with things and see what happens. So that's all I've got for you today. Blessed be. We'll see you on the next video.